This is a meeting of the Special Act Charter Committee. It's Wednesday, August 12th at 6 p.m. At our last meeting, we discussed a few possible additions to the charter. And so over the past couple of weeks, I took those suggestions and incorporated them into the charter. And I met with town council about those discussions. And also I have included one item in here for the board's discussion and either inclusion or removal from the charter. So the first item to talk about is section 1-7, definitions. Town council had brought up the fact that we had never defined measure, so I pulled up some definitions from other charters and reviewed them with town council, and these are the ones that he suggested we include. And it includes the definition for charter, full council, initiative measure, also town and voter. So reflecting, if the board votes to support that, I also have marked the rest of the charter to remove town of Easton and registered voter. Colleen?
Okay, so it might just be me, but I'm reading B and E under the definition section. Full council, full multiple body member, and multiple member body. And they seem internally inconsistent because the first one talks about full council, full multiple member body, and it defines full council or full multiple member, and it means the entire authorized complement of town, council, school committee, or other multiple member body, notwithstanding a vacancy. Then you get down to multiple member body, and it says multiple member body shall mean any board, commission, committee, subcommittee, or otherwise, or members, whether elected, appointed, or other, but not including the town council and the school committee. So up here, multiple member body includes us, but down in multiple member body, that specific definition, it doesn't include town council and school committee. So am I reading it wrong?
I don't think you're reading it wrong. I think that a multiple member body can be like, you know how we had the fire,
The House Study Committee.
Right, so they define multiple member body, which is then included in that up above definition, because it's not just elected committees and appointed committees. A multiple member body can be an ad hoc committee, so I think that they're just trying to.
Oh, I understand that, but where it also says full multiple member body, it includes school committee and town council, but under regular multiple member body, it doesn't include the town council and the school committee.
Well, it says, it shall mean any. So by any, I think it's inclusive, school committee would be inclusive in the word any.
No, it says
But it says later
not
on,
including the
but
town
not.
council, because there are different quorum rules that apply to those things, so that's why I think they separated them out.
No, and I understand that, but I think the way the definitions the two definitions together don't read consistent to me.
Okay, so which one do you want me to take out?
No, let me.
Unless I'm misreading it, that's why.
No, I think E means the Planning Board, Conservation Committee, anything other than the Town Council or the School Committee. And the reason I'm assuming that they are separated out is because they are included in the charter specifically. So you don't see the Planning Board, Conservation Commission, or anything else in the charter. So full council, full member body means full council, full school committee. E means multiple member bodies, means any other committee that exists in the town other than those two, and it excludes them in the bottom. So I think that's what it was trying to say, whether it says it cleanly or not.
Yeah, I think that's probably my issue, because I guess if you take full multiple member body, that does include school committee, but if you just take multiple member body by itself, it doesn't include school committee and town council. So those three words are subsumed within the four-word definition, and it seems to me to be inconsistent or unclear.
So section 8.5 is the one that applies to multiple member bodies. So I think that they're just trying to say in that definition of multiple member bodies that it includes even ad hoc committees, special committees, that they're not exempt from any of those rules.
I understand that, but the purpose of a definitional section is to neaten it up and clarify it. And these two definitions together don't, unless, you know what I mean? Unless.
Well, do we need
this first one? Can't we just say full council and take out the full multiple member body thing, or is that unnecessary part of multiple member body, the definition down under E? And now I'm confusing myself at this point, but.
I'm okay the way it is, actually.
What about if you just took the part on E after it says, or otherwise constituted, then deleted the rest of that sentence, but not including town council and school committee? Could you just delete that part of it?
Well, because there are two different sections. One is the one I just told you about, and then the other one is town ordinance, which talks about full council membership, full, so there, and then down below, there's a section specifically entitled multiple member body procedures.
Oh,
So
right.
they're called out in two separate ways. I think that's why the definition is written out separately.
So is the difference
I think that
the
it's real-
word, I'm sorry, is the difference the word full?
I think that's what it's supposed to be, yeah. So you added a word to multiple member body, which has one definition, and then you added the word full to it, and full multiple member body has another definition. So
See,
three words within,
The context in which they used in the body of the charter
Okay.
is
Right,
different.
I guess I see it as, don't want a committee to be formed of 3 people and have them say, the rules don't apply to us. This defines multiple member body to say, oh no, those same rules apply to everyone, even if it's a little subcommittee. So that's why I think that that's included in a lot of the charters, because it's just defining that no one's exempt from these things. You know how sometimes when subcommittees get formed, they think that the same rules don't apply to them, and they actually do, or a special committee. And I think that that's why they separate it out. Do you want me to ask town council?
I mean, no, I mean, I don't think it's necessary to ask town council. It just, for me, it was just confusing, and I look at a definitional section as something that's clarifying, and it shouldn't be confusing. But I guess if you're looking at it, if you're looking at it in the abstract without reference to the rest of the document, it probably doesn't make sense, but it's fine.
All
I
right.
do think subcommittee, actually, in multiple member body should either be one word or hyphenated or something without just like a little space in there.
Okay, I just removed that.
And I did have a substantive issue, but going back to section 1.5, construction. It talks about the general powers of the town of Easton as stated in section 1.3, but I think the general powers, aren't they 1.4? Powers of the town? Or 1-4 rather, instead of 1-3? 1-3 is the division of powers.
I believe that that is completely correct. Thank you for catching that. Absolutely. That's why I asked you to look at it carefully. Your editor skills are in full effect. All right, going on, I removed any reference to registered voter and also to the...
Wait a minute, do we have to vote to adopt the definition section?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Steve.
I move we adopt the definition section as presented.
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. The only other change as we go down, I removed registered and town of to reflect the new addition of the definitions. And then when you get down to section 6-1. So I think I discussed with you at the last meeting at length how when I went and looked at other charters, ours was kind of moved around incorrectly. Does everyone remember that?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went back and I, used a line from this and searched and found like 15 charters. Every charter had the wording the same way except for ours, where we had clearly moved a paragraph around. So you can see that now it says, A, the organization of the town into operating departments can be accomplished through either of the methods provided in this article, and there's 1, ordinances. Ordinances are submitted by the town council. And then, not 1, yeah,
Says one.
1, it should be 2 down below, sorry guys, and then it should say 2, administrative code. The town manager has the right to establish them. So there's 2 completely different ways I reviewed this with town council. The thing I wanted to discuss with you was something I saw in those charters, not all of them, but certainly a large number of them, was section B, repetitive proposals. If you remember, town council brought up the question of, well, a town manager could put a department together and a new council could be elected and take it apart in, 3 months. And because they're unhappy about something. And so this, I just put in there for discussion because it addressed the issue that he raised. I have just put it here for you guys to discuss.
Well, I think 18 months, certainly, you have to give reorganizations time to adjust and time to work through, so there's going to be certainly a transition period there. I think 18 months is fair.
Why is it limited to just the town manager to,
So essentially what it is fighting is the political process, that if new people are elected 4 months later who are upset with something, they can propose through ordinance to abolish this town department. The town administrator is usually a more long-term employee who may propose a department, a new department, and then realize a year later, this isn't working. And so he can petition the council. It's not an anger thing, it's a reflection after a certain amount of time that this isn't working anymore. Kind of like when we did the Veterans District. You know what I mean? After a year, when we realized that it really wasn't functioning the way we thought it was going to function, we were able to back out of that. What it's trying to do really is stop the political, 3 months later, they overturn a new department that's been formed and don't allow it to.
So does B refer only to administrative code or something by the town manager, or would it also refer to ordinances?
Yeah, it refers to both, but
Oh,
it's really
okay.
about the ordinances. Remember when Jay was talking about that you could have the town manager make a new department, like consolidate community? Okay, let's pick an example. I'm gonna pick a graphic example, like, say he consolidated departments, and then people who were friends with those people all ran and were elected, and then took that department apart because they were upset about something. This says that they have to be in place for 18 months before you can, so it can't be one of those flash of anger, we're going to take this whole thing apart. But it allows the town manager, if he sees that it's not working, that it's not functioning, it
To
stops.
restructure.
He can restructure it again, petition the council
By
and say,
petitioning the
this is
council,
why
yeah.
it's not, it's not working, can we change it? But they can't just get elected 3 months later and tear the whole thing apart.
Take it apart, okay.
So we don't have to include this. I only put it in there because that was an issue he raised and it provided
Makes sense. It does make- Yeah.
Steve, what are your thoughts?
never thought about it before this, but I just, I guess I'm okay with it, using your explanation. It just prevents a newly elected council running on a platform. We're going to reverse the reorganization, not to do it 3 months later or 6 months later or something. I guess I'm okay with it.
They'd still be able to do it because the 18-month
Yeah.
time frame would fall within the term
Right.
of any
Right.
elected officials, so
Then
they
they'd have to
Except
see
that
if
then
it
they'd
worked
have to see
first.
whether it
Yeah.
worked.
they would
Yeah.
have to see whether it worked first. So they could say, we'll look at this, but
Right.
not be able to do it immediately. So, it kind of requires the element
Well,
of time
and it could have been
and
something that the
reflection.
prior council did too. It's not just something that the town manager did.
Right.
It could be something that the prior council did.
Right, that they did like on their way out the door, if you will, and.
Yeah, they might not think they're going out the door.
Well, yes, but,
Where did 18 months come from? It's an arbitrary
You know what?
number.
I looked at a bunch of charters and I copied and pasted what was written in those charters.
Well, it
So
seems fair
most of them
because-
had 18 months.
Yes.
It seems fair given the 2-year term,
right,
so it seems like it's sort of a middle-of-the-road type of time period. And 18 months is a reasonable amount of time to figure out, like how long you guys tried the combined veterans thing and did it for, 12 months, 18 months, and were like, oh, this isn't working, and went back to the old way,
I think it
it's,
was a year, yeah.
yeah, so I think anything shorter than that is not gonna give you enough time to, you can't tell if something's not working after a month unless it's a complete and utter disaster, and you'd like to think that a change wouldn't be made that would be totally disastrous change, because before you make the big changes, you usually have some
hope there was
forethought
more thought
beforehand,
in.
yeah, on the front end.
yeah.
But there's almost an escape clause in the very end. It says, except on the petition of the town manager.
Right, in case
So in
there's,
case there was something that was going
Right.
horribly wrong, to your point,
Right,
you can be adjusted.
right.
I have no problems with this.
Yep.
It's common sense.
so is the 6-1-2 in the middle of the second paragraph, is that right? Or should that be 6-1B? Or 6-1A, or?
No, so it's 6-1A, and then under A, there should be 1 and 2.
1 and a 2.
I made a mistake, I put a B.
Right.
So I have to
Okay.
change that to a 2. And then,
There's a
So then it says an
6-1.
organization or
B.
reorganization plan proposed by the town manager under 6-1-2,
2.
all right?
That's referring to its own paragraph.
Correct, okay, so the 2 was there, all right, and then the next one, the next 6-1A
But,
is, I think,
I'm just saying, but shouldn't that 6-1,
it should be 6A1.
yeah, 6-1A2,
Should be
actually, shouldn't it?
6-A1.
6-1A2.
A2. Yeah.
A1.
Well, is that what we're referring to? An organization plan proposed by the town manager
Yeah,
under, yep, okay,
because
Okay.
otherwise it's referring to itself.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
And then in the second paragraph, the one that you had moved,
Yeah?
I think it's the same,
Oh, you're right.
it says 6-1.
Wait a second. No, this should be 6-A2 in the first paragraph. Do you get it, guys? An organization or reorganization plan proposed by the town manager under 6-A12 of this charter shall become effective on the expiration of 60 days. Then the next paragraph, it should say 6-A1
Right.
for ordinances. Okay,
Wait,
So the first one is
No, it's gotta be
6-A2, and the second one is
no, the
6.
first one, it is referring to itself.
you do want it
Okay.
to refer to itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
so an organization or reorganization plan proposed by the town manager under section 6 dash,
Why not just say under this section of the charter?
oh my God, that would be great.
okay. All right,
And then in the second paragraph, it should be referring to the first one?
yeah, it's referring to the ordinances, because it says
Okay.
right after it for. Did anyone find any other typos? I think that's it.
Okay, wait. It was
The
just-
question.
It was, yeah, I did find, wait. You can ask your question, but I did find, something where I thought there should be a number or
On
letters.
page 5, section 2-6, town ordinances, the first sentence.
Page 5,
Section 2-6, town ordinances.
hold on, let me scroll. Town ordinances, yeah?
Yeah, so the first sentence starts, proposed ordinances shall be introduced in writing to the council. By whom is the question?
So we discussed this at length, remember
Yes.
I called Jeff Nutting, people
Yeah.
who, and they're submitted by the planning board, they're submitted to the council. If a citizen wants to submit a petition, that is something that would have to go through the council anyway, or they could do an initiative petition.
Okay,
So he
So-
said that it's not really spelled out. I couldn't find a charter where it was really spelled out. It's just, that's the known thing. A citizen can't
so
come
my
in.
frame of reference is that an ordinance needs to be sponsored by a counselor, so that the planning board must go to the subcommittee of the council that covers the planning board, for example, and ask them to sponsor it. They don't directly submit it.
But that could be part of their
Public
procedures.
safety, police, fire, whatever you want to call it, the public safety. So there's a public safety subcommittee of the council. One of those members would typically sponsor something on behalf of the chief of police, the fire chief, or somebody. This is very vague as to who can sponsor ordinances. And I think it should only be one of the 9 councils.
Right, but we did talk about this, and there wasn't really, then I think that has to be part of the policies and procedures of the council. Because then you have to write a whole section about how they're submitted for I think that they should figure that,
That the council can't do policies and procedures that are not in sync with the charter itself.
well, I think we're really going to limit ourselves if we go down that path, you know? And there might, you know, the planning board has the right to submit ordinances to the council. Under the law, I believe that that's what Jay said. So if we do that, we kind of limit them. I don't want to get tackled with the law.
Well, I'll disagree with Jay.
Well, as we go through this process,
Yep.
maybe something will, I mean, did
Yep.
you find that in another charter that you reviewed? Because I couldn't find anything that
The two-
referenced,
The two governments that I worked for, only councilors could do it.
yeah. But was
There
it
were
in their
cities.
charter?
Um,
That's the thing, because I couldn't
A
find one.
long time ago, I have no idea, but all I can tell you
Well,
is
if you want me to, if you want, give me the two names of those cities.
Brockton and Somerville.
Okay, and I'll look them up and see what they say, and I'll get back to you, because it still has to go through the selectmen's process, so there's still time. Does anyone, did you find a typo?
I did, but I can't,
Oh,
it wasn't a
no.
typo, it was a numbering thing, but I think it was, again, Ben's probably gonna say, just this, because I think I'm getting all wrapped around like the numbers, but I think it's right the way it is. I was on page 14, the budget message, so you had two lists of As, and then two lists of alphabet, like ABC, and then you went down, there was another sentence like AB, but it's two independent mandates, or, you know, so I think it's fine the way it is.
So I would ask the board to authorize me, when we're done with this, to go through it right before I send it to them, and if there's a small, like, A, B, 1, 2 thing,
Or
to
a
alter
spacing
that.
thing.
Or a
like the-
space thing.
Yeah, there's a spacing thing on
Does-
page 10.
Does the board support that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do, yes.
Anything else that, anything else? So did we have a vote to include that section, B? Yes, we did, right?
No.
No,
Okay.
we did not.
Could I get a motion to approve section 6, 1B?
So moved.
Is there
Second.
any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. And a motion to approve all the removals of the words registered and Easton. Could I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Anything else? I do want to say that I had a meeting with Jay yesterday. Oh, there's a couple things I want to say.
Well,
Hmm?
because you got to say this at the Board of Selectmen meeting, so I want to say it now. But you guys were fantastic to work with. I learned so much, and this has been a very pleasant experience. Well, not that, actually, I've always had pleasant, for the most part, experiences on committees, but this has just been a real joy. So, I mean, despite all the picky little things that we had to do, it's been a real learning experience for me, and I think we've worked really well together, and I think, you know, we didn't always agree, but it was so polite, and, you know, that's okay. So I want to thank you all, because I'm kind of fading into the background now, and
Yes.
this was kind of a nice way to end it.
And I wanted to say that I met with Jay yesterday, and he said that he really appreciated that our charter had so many traditional frameworks, but also had certain things that he thought were like Easton, he could see the touch of Easton on it, that it was, that we had crafted certain things in a way, and he really appreciated that. And I also want to say that, you know, I spoke to the reporter from the Journal about this, and one of the things I said during that conversation is I absolutely need you to say in this article that this was an amazing group to work with. And of course, that wasn't in the article. Because it really was. Everybody brought something to the table, and echoing what Colleen said, it's absolutely true. And I said, please say that. Please say that this was just an incredible group, and it has been. And, you know, I just thank everyone so much for their hard work.
Thank you.
I think we want to thank you for cheering,
Oh, no.
Here, here.
keeping us in line, or me
Okay.
at least.
But in keeping things moving.
I just have
Yep.
one, it's probably not answering my own question, but in section 9.6, the disposition of certain laws where the list needs to be developed, it doesn't need to be developed right now, but will it have to be developed before we present this to the town? Or it gets to the town meeting floor?
Yes, it does. But what I do want to say is those laws that are retained, first of all, we don't list the ones that are retained, only the ones that are, what's the word in there?
Repealed.
Repealed. But those are already repealed. I mean, it isn't like we're listing things that we're newly going to be repealing.
Okay.
So I'll work with Jeremy to get that list, Unless it's something that applies to a specific town, you know. That's, what I said is not true, okay? I take back what I said. So according to Marilyn Contreras, the ones that are retained are no longer listed in the charter.
Okay.
Only the ones we're removing.
Gotcha.
So I'll call Jeremy tomorrow and ask him to start working on that list.
Okay.
Okay? Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you very much.